with Pickens' situation, that we were especially same agent. But that was never personal, never with Micah in any way, form, or fashion. I want our George Pickens relationship to be all honey.
Honey and money.
Very, very, well, that's good. I didn't say that because it sounds like I'm joking, but boy, that's pretty good.
Jerry Jones saying Jerry Jones things and ultimately doing Jerry Jones things, taking the path of least expense whenever, wherever, however. And with George Pickens, Michael, it's as glaring as I can remember it being, the difference between the franchise tag and the current top of the market. This is something Sins and I have been talking about this week. I did an article on this last weekend going position by position. The comparison of the franchise tag to the current top of the market. Now, for some positions, it's not all that glaring. For receiver, the top of the market right now is $40 million per year, Jamar Chase. Franchise tag based upon whatever calculation, the formula that they use, and they changed it in 2011 under the CBA. It's the average cap percentage consumed by the franchise tag at the position over the last 5 years. Whatever, it has caused the receiver franchise tag to lag badly behind the market. 27.3 versus 40. And it's so hard to get the fans to understand it because the fans are thinking, I'll take 27.3. That's not the point.
Right.
The point is you've got limited opportunities to make money in the NFL, and you have a skill set that is highly valued by the people who are making billions from the sport. You have to strike while the iron is hot because the iron goes cold quickly. You get one shot as a non-quarterback to get paid massive money. Every once in a while, there's a guy who gets two. For most, it's one. And you have to treat it as, this is my only opportunity. This is it. So for George Pickens, unless the Cowboys give him a market-level deal, he's got to wait a year. And then they could tag him again next year. What's a 20% bump over $27 million? It's going to be like $33, $34 million. That's still well below the market. We'll tag him twice. And he's got to get through 2 seasons, healthy and effective. He'll be 2 years older, and then he finally gets to the open market. So that's the problem. That's why George Pickens should be upset, and I wish that more people would understand it and sympathize or empathize or whatever thighs with George Pickens and any other player whose one shot gets frustrated and delayed by this quirk in the CBA that gives every team the ability to squat on an unrestricted free agent every year with the franchise tag.
Yeah, and Mike, they're not, from an ownership perspective, general managers, they're not motivated to change it because it's to their advantage for reasons you just outlined. So imagine if you're George Pickens, and I know Dak Prescott said, hey, he should bet on himself in 2026. Well, Dak, he bet on himself in 2025. That's what happened. You know, he goes from Pittsburgh to Dallas, and this is his fresh start with a really good quarterback, the best quarterback he's ever played with. So he's got Dak Prescott throwing him the ball, and he produces an incredible season. That's betting on yourself. Hey, I'm going to go here. I'm going to show what I can do, and then I'll get a big contract. Well, he bet on himself. He showed out. He was great, and he gets tagged. And he's going to play, if the Cowboys don't come to a deal, and they probably won't, they don't come to a deal, he's going to play 2026, he's going to play the season well below his market value. And that point will be even more stark to him when he sees on Monday or Wednesday or whatever it is, when Alec Pierce signs his deal with his new team, and we see what those guaranteed dollars are, and we see what that AAV is, it's going to be clear. Because I think George Pickens is better than Alec Pierce, but Alec Pierce was not tagged, and you'll see the difference. We should just put them side by side. What did Alec Pierce get? What's he playing for? What's George Pickens playing for? That's the beauty of not having the franchise tag.
The rookie wage scale and the franchise tag are the two primary devices for the owners that holds down the ability of the players to really have every team in salary cap purgatory every year, because the rookie wage scale makes guys relatively cheaper than veterans, so you can skew toward younger players and push out the older, more expensive guys. And the franchise tag keeps the best players from getting to the market and really pushing it up, and then the lesser players fill in under it. What we see instead is lesser players than the best are the ones who are setting the new benchmarks for the most part. Jamar Chase got his contract. He had to fight and scratch and claw for it, but he got it. Pickens should be getting his, but he's not, because that's the deal. That's how it works. And people always get huffy. They're like, well, that's what the players agreed to. That's what they ultimately have very little choice, because the owners, as I was saying earlier in the week, the owners will shut down the sport for a year to get what they want. They won't blink. We'll lock you out, and we'll see you next year. Let us know when you're ready to cry uncle. The players want to play. They want to get paid to play. And even though they're not doing it for altruistic reasons, one of the things I'm trying to get fans to understand, when it hits the fan, one side is willing to deprive you of a season of football. The other side isn't. How about we sympathize with those guys once in a while? How about we line up behind them once in a while and not behind the oligarchs, right? Not behind the billionaires who will take football away from you for a year if it advances their long-term business interests.
Yeah, they'll take football away and because they can. Whereas the players, even if the players said, hey, okay, I'm going to take my services away from you, they just don't have the resources. They don't have the deep, their pockets aren't as deep. And the owners know that. How long is that going to last? Even if the wealthiest players, the top 1% of NFL players say, I'm not playing, I'm all set, I've got all the money I need. Well, that's the top 1%. Most of the rank and file in the NFLPA just don't have it like that. And you talk about that thing going quickly. They don't have a 10 to 12 year career. They have a 3 to 6 year career. And they're maybe not getting that huge contract. So this is their opportunity right now. They're not going to be on board for sitting out a season. Some players, it sounds crazy, but some players can't afford it. They just can't afford to do it.
Hey. Michael Holley, 2011. One game was lost, the Hall of Fame game. That's a shame. Every other game was played. Every player got paid. But there were many stories of guys taking out loans with ridiculous interest rates, getting into all sorts of financial trouble. And they only missed one game.
Yeah.
But it was this fear of a protracted lockout or guys who were going to be free agents. You don't get the free agency. That all happened in late July after they resolved the CBA. So it's a problem, but the bigger problem for the players now, for the best players now, you got to deal with the franchise tag when you become a free agent. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.